Okay, now we come to our 3 projects out of denim material. We have a gym bag, sample 2, and our sample 1. So the first thing we're going to do, make sure that we have our 3 sample patterns, and we have our 1/2 meter. We need to make sure that we line up our selvage edge. The selvage edge is the edge that was made at the factory. The other thing that we want to make sure of is as we line up our selvage edge, that we also have a nice fold at the edge. Okay? Now, I'm going to do this wrong so that you can see how not to do this. Okay, I'm going to line it up like this, and I'm going to try and lay it flat, but you can see how the fold doesn't fit. It's not right. So we're going to put it back the way it needs to be. Now, I'm not going to worry about these edges because oftentimes those edges don't come out properly. What you're concerned with is your selvage edge lining up and this fold lining up. Okay, there we go. Okay, you have 3 patterns that you need to cut. You have sample 1, you need to cut 1. Sample 2, you need to cut 2. Sample 3, which is actually called your gym bag, cut 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to play with these patterns to make sure that we can get all 3 patterns cut. Now, if this is something you need to be watching for, and this is also something else you need to know. The dark side, or the colored side, is usually the good side. When we lay out our material, we always lay it out with right sides together. That's what it's called, right sides together. That would mean this is the wrong side, usually the lighter side or the side that doesn't show the color as well. Now, this doesn't line up very well, which means that this side probably won't line up perfectly either. So when we lay our patterns out, we need to make sure that our patterns aren't going across so that we aren't getting a complete pattern on both pieces if it says cut 2. Alright, with the one that says the sample 1, you only need 1. So with this one, we can go all the way over if we need to. Sample 2, we're going to get it just perfect. And your gym bag, we're actually going to go as far as we can, right to the edge. Okay? Now, once we lay out our patterns the way we want them, we're going to use weights because that prevents the pattern from moving. Okay? And I'm going to line this up. I'm going to do sample 1, or the gym bag first. Okay. Okay, so rather than use a felt pen, I'm going to use a regular ballpoint pen. The reason for that is a felt pen is going to bleed through into the edges and into the other side of the other piece of material. We don't really want that to happen. Okay? So now, once I've lined it up the way I want it, I'm going to trace this pattern, okay, as carefully as I can, and I'll hold the edges so that they don't move. Okay? And you're going to do all 4 sides. Once I've got it, I can take it off and make sure that the line shows up fairly well. Now, I want to save myself some time, so I'm going to actually move this pattern right up to the line so I don't have to draw that line again. Now I'm just going to do this second pattern. I'm actually going to line it up with this line so that it's a straight cut. And I'll do this end. Okay, let's double check. And now the third one, I'll do the same thing, but this I only need one piece. So I'm going to line this up like that. I'm going to put the weight back on. Because I only need one, it doesn't matter if the material isn't overlapped here, because I only need one piece. I don't have to do this side and I don't have to do that side because they're already done. But now, in order for me to remember what's what, I'm going to write S1 for sample 1. I know that this is sample 2, so I'm going to write S2 on that one. And just so I don't forget, I'm going to write Gymbag on this. Now, we've got our pattern pieces labeled and traced, but we can't cut them out yet until we pin them. So now we take our pins and even though we only need one, we're just going to cut through both pieces for your sample 1. We're going to go at a diagonal in the corners. And what we want to do is make sure that the material doesn't move when we cut it. So we're going through both layers of material and we're doing a diagonal pin in each corner. The other thing you want to make sure of is that when you're pinning, you're not going to cross this line. You don't want to have the pin touch the line because you're going to cut there. If you have a pin there, you have to move the pin in order to cut. That's twice as much work as you need to do. I'm all about making life easier and quicker and less work. You don't need to pin a million. It's just going to take them out after anyway. You just want to make sure that you're pinning enough that you're stabilizing the material, both layers, so that when you cut, the material doesn't shift on you. And now I'll cut through both layers of material. Okay, so now I have my 3 pieces. Now, sample 1, like I said, I'm only going to need 1. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all my pins out and I'm going to set this up so that next, when I start sewing, I just put everything away. Now, if one of my friends didn't come prepared, I can give this to somebody else, or I can use it if I don't like what I've done for sample 1. Okay, so I'm going to just pin these together with just 1 pin so that I know that both of these pieces are sample 1 pieces. Sample 2, I'm going to do basically the same thing. But I need these together. So I'm going to put a pin on one side through both pieces. And I'm going to fold it. So that when I open my bag and I say, okay, it's time for sample 2, I have both pieces pinned together says sample 2. Same thing with the Gymbag. I'm going to pin it though in one corner through both pieces. I'm going to take all the other pins off so that when it's time to change and move into my Gymbag, it's folded and it's folded together. I put my sample 2 on top, okay, and I set those aside. So now I'm going to sew my sample 1.